screen presentation, sir?
No, it
Screen
will be done
sharing?
by Dr.
Okay,
Walter.
okay,
Dr.
Walter.
Walter.
Okay,
He is taking
okay,
it up.
okay, 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 sir. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Shall we start?
Okay. Yeah, we will start. We will start. Yes, please go ahead.
Once again, a very pleasant Saturday midsummer's morning to all the participants. As the saying goes, three is a charm. Once again, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all for the 3-day lecture series organized by the Department of English and Other Foreign Languages, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram, Chennai. Today's lecture is How to Develop Interpretation Skills by Dr. Sendil, Assistant Professor in English, Tyagarajar College, Madurai. I welcome all the participants once again, and I request Dr. Savita to give the welcome address.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the participants for the third day of our lecture series. I take immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Sendil, Assistant Professor of English, Tyagarajar College, Madurai, who has nearly 25 years of service in teaching the students of higher education institutions. Earlier, he worked at Adiyaman College of Engineering, Hosur, and also in Banariamman Institute of Technology, Satyamangalam. To his credit, he has published 21 research articles in the national and the international journals of repute, attended 7 workshops and 8 online courses, and presented 10 papers in seminars and conferences. In addition, he has produced PhD and MPhil scholars. He has published 2 books and visited Singapore for an international conference. Further, he has been functioning as a speaking examiner for Cambridge English Language Assessment through British Council, India since 2005. Currently, he is guiding 7 PhD scholars and MPhil scholars. I welcome you, sir, and I also welcome all the participants who are here with us for all the 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Savita ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
For introducing me to this webinar. Before I start my speech, I express my sincere gratitude to the benevolent management of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram, Faculty of Engineering and Technology, distinguished head, Department of English and Other Foreign Languages, Dr. V. Ramana, the coordinator, Dr. S. Savita ma'am, and my dear friend, Dr. Walter, who has been instrumental in organizing this event in a succinct manner. This is the third day of this lecture series. I'm really honored to be with you all this day and this hour. I'm going to just express my views on how to develop interpretation skills by applying stylistics. Stylistics is the study of an author whose latent talents can be easily brought out using their own writing components. And as soon as I start working on this one, I thought of one thing. And I wanted to just tell you how effectively a dialogue takes place between 2 characters in Shakespeare's play Hamlet. There is a dialogue between Polonius and Hamlet where Polonius is asking, "What do you read, my lord?" Hamlet says, "Words, words, words." We wonder, as we are all English teachers, most of us are English teachers here, I guess. Words, words, words. Actually, there is no link before the end of the last term called words, and though it's missing, it is easily construed by any one of the readers that this is also having a quality by its own. We call it coordination. Words, words, and words. If we don't use the word and, we call it coordination. It has it. And I think some of you have switched on your mic.
Yes, sir, you continue.
Yes.
We will
Yeah. Yes.
deal with
In
it.
coordination, we don't worry about having an A and D and at the end. There won't be any problem at all. It is also welcome. And when you move on to the next slide, we have the second one. Bergen Evans is a co-author of a dictionary of contemporary usage. Says words are living things. They grow, take roots, adapt to environmental changes like any plant or animal in the world. Words are living things. Once we start reading something, the words start living there. When somebody doesn't read anything at all, particularly the book that he or she has at home, it is equal to dead thing. So it has got its own life when somebody reads it. So they grow gradually, they take roots, adapt to environmental changes. All these changes will be taking place like any plant or any animal that would be living in the world. Now, I request Dr. Walter to click on the link here.
Yes, sir.
The communication generally has 4 important or basic skills. We know it. When you click on, Walter sir, click on the index finger where we have a marking plus my index finger. Yes. It's all about, in my opinion, it's all about listening skills. Listening skills is the first skill which has to be enriched by each participant, each student in our class. And even when you click on the slide at the same time, the web, right? We could listen to what she says. Just click it, sir. Click on the video. Can you go back?
One minute.
Sir? Yeah. Yeah, you will listen to it very easily. This is how you can create something inside the classroom so that students can be easily motivated
Have I
to listen to.
skill
Right, sir? You close it
in class?
and move on to the next finger.
Classroom management.
Move on to the middle finger part.
Classroom management.
Yeah, we have speaking skill. Speaking skill, this is self-explanatory. I've given an explanation derived from the Google, and we do have the video here. Move on to the next finger, sir. Next one is reading skill, again self-explanatory. And we have a video here for reading skill also. Then last one, writing skill. What is the last one, please, sir? Writing skill. We have an explanation here on the screen, and I do have a video here. Now, we have come across, yes, sir, just wait here. Do not click on the link, sir. Close it. Just close this one alone, sir. Writing skill. And we have thumb finger. That indicates the most important component here of a human being. We call it, click on it, sir, thinking skill. Most of the teachers may not be able to apply or help the students think inside the classroom. Once the students start thinking in the classroom, definitely we would easily arrive at the conclusion, or they might be able to draw their own conclusions very easily inside the classroom whenever there is a competition or there is a presentation or there may be a kind of group discussion held inside the classroom. So thinking skill plays a pivotal role here along with all these four major skills. That is why I've just shown this video and clipping to you. Thank you, sir. We shall move on to the slide. When you look at the slide we have here, what is interpretation? People might ask. Interpretation is a thing which should be a view of a person, place, or things in order to reveal meanings. In a technical term, we call it tropes, T-R-O-P-E-S, tropes, and which means revealing meaning or disclosing meanings. So here, throughout my lecture, we are going to disclose certain meanings of those words. Before that, we will understand what kind of meanings we would easily arrive at. Why interpretation is required? People might be wondering at. Interpretation may not be an instruction, but it arouses interest while reading, while writing, while listening to, while speaking. It establishes emotional and intellectual connections between whom? Between the interests of the audience, those listen to me, and the inherent meanings. So we are all seeking for inherent meanings of certain words. This is how I apply my concept using stylistics. Then an interpreter is basically having some skills. He needs or she needs to be an active listener, to have cognitive skills, extremely, we say, thinking skills, or we say, to be active in nature. Then we have note-taking skills, vocabulary, having extensive use of vocabulary, expressing ideas or feelings exactly to the listeners or to the receiver, and the situations that are demanding to the people concerned, etc. Move on to the next slide, please, sir. This is a basic thing we have here. Most of the people would be thinking, particularly in engineering colleges, science and technology, they would be dealing with. Most of the science teachers or professors would admit Bloom's taxonomy could be easily applied to our students while setting question papers and other things. But there are some inhibitions among the teachers of English or professors of English. How do we incorporate Bloom's taxonomy or all the 6 levels into our own curriculum or our own syllabi? There might be some difficulties that some of the people would be just facing. I've just given it as reasoning skills, which would be, in turn, we can say, thinking skills. We need to go by the order: remembering or remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Let us see how it is possible for the students concerned to apply, analyze, evaluate, and create through my talk. Because most of the times we understand that remember, understand, apply would be possible, would be applicable to the students of UG. And we might be giving the chances for analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Most probably creating may not be to that extent possible, but still there are some students who have some creativities and they would produce new things, original work, as we say, research articles, research papers in their MPhil studies, or we say in PhD programs. Please move on to the next slide, sir. We have various types of interpretations. The first one would be, without having types of interpretation, we won't be able to conjoin stylistics into interpretation at all. That's why I've given this slide. Simultaneous or simultaneous interpretation. We should be dealing with source language and target language. If the source language is English, if the target language is German or Spanish or some other language, how to arrive at exactly? There may be a translation method followed here in simultaneous interpretation. Look at the consecutive interpretation. This is actually a verbal communication. It has some pauses or sometimes breaks between sentences. We call it consecutive interpretation. Look at the next component. We have liaison and escort interpretation, wherein we find a conversation would be taking place in an informal way or informal situation. It may be held at hotel or restaurant. It may be held at in a small room where we will find a few people or few higher rung people or authorities will be discussing some things as peoples. And the next one would be whispered interpretation. What does it mean? We know it, whispering. It is a kind of interpretation or interpreting what is said in a low voice. Is called, we say, whispered interpretation. The next one will be sworn interpretation, and that is called official interpretation, where government has to approve of these interpreters. We call it sworn interpretation. The next one will be interpretation of communication. This is where we focus on. This is a process actually designed to disclose meanings, to reveal the ideas or feelings or whatnot through communication. The next one is interpretation in psychology. Interpretation of stimuli is subjective actually. My own feelings can be expressed very easily. We call it subjective, which means that individuals can come to different conclusions. You can draw a kind of conclusion on your own, on one's own. We call it interpretation of psychology. So please move on to the next slide. We have here biblical interpretation, without which we cannot complete a kind of interpretation at all. There are four major types of hermeneutics interpretations that are emerged there. They are literal, moral, allegorical, and anagogical. Whenever we deal with literal meaning, finding out literal meaning of a sentence or a word or any pattern, we say written material, we get plain meaning. When you go with or apply moral, we get rules of conduct or codes of conduct from the text. When you have an eye on allegorical, we get some spiritual sense there in the meaning. Then we have anagogical, which would be either climbing upward or we say scriptural exegesis. That is again interpretation of a text, particularly the Bible. And look at the next one, interpreting and translating. There might be a question, then what translation would be? There is a slight difference in the medium actually. And interpreting would be dealing with translating something orally, while translation would be interpreting written text in a simpler way. Look at the next one we have here, relay interpreting. And we have been watching relay on the ground in a college or in a school, or we say even in a university. And a baton is carried on by a particular runner, and that will be passed on to another runner. This is the similar kind of the thing we have here, relay interpreting or interpretation. We listen to the source of language speaker, that renders the message into a language common to all other interpreters. There will be group of interpreters. And in turn, what they do here is those interpreters then render the message, give the message to their target language groups. We call it relay interpreting. Now we move on to the next slide, where we have stylistics and the stylistics interpretation. Interpretation of texts in regard to their linguistic style would be called stylistic interpretation. Stylistic interpretation means interpretation of any text for that matter in regard to their linguistic style. Now, we have here, it links literary criticism to linguistics. Actually, stylistics is an integral component of literary criticism. And linguistics, we know it is a scientific study of language. And stylistics is a branch of applied linguistics. It is a description and analysis of variability of linguistic forms in actual language use. There are some variations taking place, and the differences in regional level, or we say in social relevance. We call it variability of linguistic forms in actual language use. Now we have a link, sir. We have a link.
Yes, sir.
Please open the link, sir. All the teaching fraternity or the students might be knowing about these two words, the meanings of these two words, continuous and continual. The meanings of these two words. When we start telling them the subtlety or the difference between these two words using this method, it would definitely reach the student community. That is what my trust is. Click on the index finger, sir. We have a word called continuous. Continuous means without having any interruption in our life, without having any interruption. Now please click on the video, sir. For continuous, I'm giving you a video of Niagara Falls. Listen to this fall. Thank you, sir. When we listen to Niagara Falls or any other falls that you go there won't be an interruption at all when you listen to or hear the sound. Yes, sir. You can please click on this one. Yes, got it. For continuous, there won't be any interruption at all as the water flows there. When you click on the second one, for continual, the meaning is different. It is repeated though, but there has been a break. Some breaks in between. Click on the video, please, sir. Thank you, sir. We have heard these two sounds. One is sound, another one may be noise. Dogs barking. And the variation you have when a dog barks, that would be the difference between continuous and continual. When we show up this kind of video to our students, definitely they would also be able to apply the same concept using Bloom's taxonomy, and there will be a chance of attaining the final, the pinnacle of Bloom's taxonomy. They would also create one such thing very easily. In addition to this one, the term continuous may be applied, particularly by people from ISO, International Organization for Standardization. They say there must be a continuous improvement. If there is a continual improvement, there may be some flaw. In a factory or an industry, people keep on having some continuity, and they work for continuous assessment. We do have continuous assessment in colleges, but when you look at the attitude of the students, that varies. When you look at any human being, the attitude varies. So we can apply continual for any one of the education institutions, particularly the performance of the students. A student might score 90 out of 100 this time, but the next time, the same person or the student might be securing even less or more, depending on the question pattern or depending on the answers that the students will be giving or writing. This is what the subtle difference that we have between these two words. This is how stylistics will be playing a pivotal role here. Sir, please move on to the next slide. Language variation and style we have here. Language variation and style. There are 4 words given at the bottom: consultative, frozen, intimate, and formal. I request the participants to match all these 4 phrases with the following words. Please click on the following words or 4 sentences. First one, second one, third one. You can use the box, chat box for answering. Visitors should make their way once to the upper floor by way of the staircase. Visitors should go up the stairs at once. Would you mind going upstairs right away, please? Up you go, chaps. Which one goes with which category? You can have 10 more seconds. Yes, we have been getting answers from our participants, including Shantini. The first one, visitors should make their way at once to the upper floor by way of their staircase. That goes with frozen. We call it frozen style, where we cannot ask any question at all. We have to abide by the rules. We call it frozen style. Most formal style, we call it in a simpler way, most formal style. Look at the second one. Visitors should go up the stairs at once. This is, we say, a formal style. The next one is a formal style. Most of the people would use. When you look at the third sample, we get, would you mind going upstairs right away, please? Consultative. You will have, we say, a connection between the listener and the speaker. Would you mind going upstairs right away, please? And you ensure yourself that the communication gap is not existent there. We call it consultative. And the last one, up you go, champ. We know it, this is intimate. Very close friends would be making use of this one. Sir, the next one. Language variation and style. Actually, it is a function of language viewed at linguistically and stylistically. There are 2 methods we have here, linguistically and stylistically. When you look at the sentence called, how are you? People would be asking as soon as they meet each other. How are you? They'll be asking. And it can be derived at linguistically and stylistically. How? We have here a component called without the context, within the context. Click on this one, sir. Walter, sir. Without the context. How are you? Without the context, we call it linguistical approach. When you move into the deeper section of the idea or the feeling or inner current of the meaning, we call it within the text. We call it stylistically. How are you is an interrogative pattern linguistically. How are you? You are greeting somebody. We call it stylistical pattern or stylistics. Go to the next slide, please, sir. Here we have stylistics and stylistic interpretation. Not this one, I suppose. Oh, yes. Not this one. Yes, sir. You're right. You're right. Linguistic variation and style. Coherence in the content organization and cohesion in the language use. We have one area. Lyric poems, private letters, autobiographical writings, etc. Public speech and advertisement, a sermon. Another one. A technical report, a newspaper report, or a text. Click on second, sir. Walter, sir. We get the idea. Actually, there are 4 types of texts. The first one is sender dominant text. Second one, the receiver dominant text. Third one, the message dominant text. The fourth one is the code centered domination. The centered dominant text, we have here expressive function, which means we evoke feeling. The speaker evokes feelings in the reader, or the writer evokes feelings in the reader. We call it expressive function. And we can easily match with them. I do it. And when somebody writes and publishes lyric poems, private letters, autobiographical writings, we have expressive function. When you look at the next one, the receiver dominant text where we have a slight variation. And in the receiver text, cognitive function, we call it cognitive function, which means influencing the behavior of somebody or someone, or even the addressee, we call it. We have uh, public speech, advertisement, sermon could be examples. The message dominant text, that is cognitive function. Uh, Cognitive function would be a mental process, having a mental process. Uh, for example, we have here, we need to apply our processes there to understand a technical report or a newspaper report or a text, etc. When you move on to the last one, the core-centered domination, which would be called textual function, wherein we find both coherence and cohesive devices. Coherence will be dealing with content organization, while cohesion will be dealing with the language use or use of language. So move on to the next slide, please. We have here a link. Please click on the link, sir.
Yes, sir.
We could see a branch of a tree. Actually, just you scroll down, sir, little bit. Yeah, we have a plus symbol. Please click on the plus symbol. We have this sign, no parking. What does it actually imply? What does it indicate? How do you interpret this particular sign? Because sign plays a major role even for illiterate people or a little bit literate people. They would understand that no parking signifies many ideas. It gives us many ideas. Close this one and click on any one of them, sir. The branch, any one of the branches. We get this one. Actually, no is an adjective. As an English teacher, we understand no is an adjective, not is an adverb. So no is an adjective. Parking is a gerund. Parking is a gerund. That becomes a combination to have a word called or a sign called no parking. And click on any one of the symbols there, plus symbol. Parking is a gerund, as I told you, and it ends in ing form generally, and it is also called verbal noun. Click on the next plus buttons. It signifies, it gives us a traffic rule. No one is supposed to park their vehicle. Vehicle is an umbrella term actually. It may be denoting a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler or a truck or lorry or any kind of vehicle that's running along the road or on the roadside. And that is why it is given. So no parking, we get no is an adjective, parking is a gerund form. It signifies a traffic rule and nobody should park the vehicle over there. But we don't know. Sometimes we have no parking only for trucks, lorries, or we say two-wheelers alone or four-wheelers alone. Those things would also be fine. And we should come to know through this symbol or sign that there are possibilities for interpreting several signs that are available there. When we are capable of interpreting several signs, why not words? Why not sentences on our own? Please close it, move on to the slide, sir. Actually, the word sign is a material, sensuously perceived object appearing in the process of cognition and communication. We'd be think, apply, and communicate properly there. And it is chiefly used for receiving. It is chiefly used for receiving, storing, recasting, and transforming the information that is available on the signboard. According to Hockett, he says there are two utterances in the same language which convey approximately the same information. Remember, actually, no two English words would be synonymous actually, but we keep on using synonyms and antonyms. But at the same time, we cannot forget which are different in their linguistic structure. Linguistically, the terms or structures will be different, can be said to differ in style. So stylistically, one different thing we get, and linguistically, there is another thing. Enquist, one of the linguists, would be explaining the conception or concept as follows. Stylistic choice, then, at first sight, seems to be a choice between items that mean roughly the same. Roughly the same or superficially maybe the same, but there are some differences. There are some nuances available there whenever we supply some of the words. So please move on to the next slide. Now we have an activity. We have three components here on the screen: colloquial, neutral, literary. And the teachers of English or teachers of any subject would also be very much interested in applying the same thing. Click on sir. Please come here is a sentence. Could you come here is a question pattern. The next one, I would like you to come here. These are the sentences we have here. Please come here. We have a notion. We wait somebody's arrival, and we treat them wholeheartedly to get into the room or the hall. Please come here, or please take your seat with a request. Could you come here? Politeness strategy can be applied when we use could you come here? When you look at the third sample, I would like you to come here. So these are the three sections or three sentences wherein we have got an important word called come. But stylistically, meanings will be different there. Please come here. Yes, we invite wholeheartedly. Could you come here? We apply, we say request, making a request or politeness strategy. I would like you to come here. I welcome you. Please come and join. And even we can add one more sentence here. Could you please come here? Adding more politeness. When you use could you please come here, the word please can be placed between could and you. And please click on the next one, sir. We have stylistic classification of English vocabulary. Click on the next one, please. There are three kinds of layers: literary layer, neutral layer, colloquial layer. Literary layer would mean or would incorporate legitimate members of the English vocabulary. Legalized terms can be easily used when we deal with literary layer. Neutral layer, all the teachers, all the people, it is a common one, universally common one. That is why I've given as universal character. Colloquial layer, this is a limited kind of a thing. A definite language community. It belongs to a particular community or confined to a special locality. I'll give you an example for this one later stage. But anyways, click on the next one, sir. We have a group of words here. Sometimes you find the hollow phrase. In stylistics, we call, when you find only one word as a phrase, we call it hollow phrase. We have some words here. Could you please match which word would be coming under colloquial, which word would be coming under neutral and literary? I give you 1 minute, please, to the participants. Do it using your chat box. Yes, most of the people are trying. Great. Daddy, chap, get out. Fellow. Fellow is a literary. Proceed, literary, fine. Go on, colloquial, excellent. Child, neutral, great. Daddy colloquial, child neutral, proceed literary, yes. Kid colloquial, chap is colloquial. Parent neutral. Get out colloquial, yes. Associate, infant, literal. Wow. Yes, sir. Move on to the next slide for the answer. Walter, sir,
Yes, sir.
please. Here we have the list. What all the words coming under colloquial, neutral, and literary? Kid, child, infant. Most of the participants have given exact answers. Great thing. Daddy, father, parent, chap, fellow, associate, get out, go away, retire, go on, continue, proceed, go ahead. We have beginner, start, then commence. Thank you, Sid. Move to the next slide, please. Sometimes there are some people who would use jargons, and that might give us a kind of ambiguity sometimes. And we do apply cooperative principle here. Actually, jargons, the term would be persistent there, would be prevailing in society as a character, and it cannot be regionalized. That is an idea. Then look at the next one. Greece means money. Actually, the word Greece is chiefly used by Americans, people living in USA. Greece means money. Why is it called money? Actually, in order to persuade somebody, in order to expedite the work concerned, we might give money to someone else. We call it Greece. It is chiefly used in America. Then we have here loaf means head, loaf. Once again, this is used in America. Then the next one is a tiger hunter. A tiger hunter is a gambler. Is the gambler reviling? The meaning is known to most of the people who are with us right now. Then the next one will be ambrosial. Ambrosial is a Greek term which means delicious, fragrant, and divine. For example, if somebody, a speaker, uses this word ambrosial food or ambrosial dinner or some item, definitely we'll come to know ambrosial must be either delicious or something else. So fragrant, divine. And you might have listened to or might have read through some of the information given by one of the renowned scholars in India, particularly from Kerala, an MP, Sashi Tharoor, whose words sometimes having so many jargons, so many words whose meanings may not be known to most of the people, including the teacher concerned or teachers, right? And there are some people who regularly use some jargons in order to tell others that I know these many. They might be waiting for chances for others to listen to them. That might be. Next one, sir. So we have an ambiguity in syntactical level, in syntax. For example, if you look at the first bulleted point, dogs must be carried on escalators. Dogs must be carried on escalators, which means we cannot use escalator at all unless we have dogs with us. So whether people can go on escalator or dogs should be carried along with us on escalator, there's a kind of ambiguity. Look at the next bulleted point. We have here an example. All refuse here. Whether people who are listening to refuse here or refuse something, or all refuse might mean like there is a dustbin where you can take all the waste materials and dump into the dustbin. We do not know. There will be uncertainty. Therefore, we could also apply cooperative principle. That is the next one we have here. This is the term we have here, implication. You might have heard of. Most of the people would have heard of implication. It was actually proposed by the philosopher called H.V. Price. While conversing, people have to acknowledge a kind of tacit agreement. There will be an agreement from where we cannot get out of. We call it tacit agreement, to cooperate conversationally towards mutual ends. And there will be mutual agreement between two people, and this agreement he calls the cooperative principle, which should be attained at some point of time. Go to the next slide, sir. We have now subtleties when we use some of the terms. Look at the first bullet point. People might be using, how many times have I told you to shut the door? Mom might be telling her children or child, how many times have I told you to shut the door? It's an order actually. We know it. Look at the next bullet point we have. You look worried today. We want to collect or request for information. Why you look worried today? That is the implied meaning here. Look at the next bullet point, the third one we have here. What is wrong with you today? What is wrong with you today is a blunt one. Is a blunt one. Profound one or fine one would be, you look worried today. Instead of using the third pattern or third bulleted point, we could use the second one. That would be better. And the next bulleted point would be, when are you going to stop that noise? Again, order. I'm really irritated to listen to. When are you going to stop that noise? Somebody is asking. And look at the next bulleted point. We get the meaning of these words. Would you mind stopping that noise? I would definitely love you, my dear child, if you stop this noise. We apply again politeness strategy in order to achieve our own self. There must be a mutual agreement between the listener and the reader. And the reader should be able to encode what is being said. That would be, we call encoding skills, which would be one of the important components of reading skills. Then there are three questions. You click thrice, sir. How is your brother is different from what is your brother, and then what is your brother like? How is your brother? If somebody is hospitalized, my brother is hospitalized, somebody is asking, how is your brother? We can say he is fine. When you look at the next one, what is your brother? It shows us what is your brother, what is he doing, what is his profession. That is the implied meaning. When you look at the next one, what is your brother like? Most of the teachers may not be knowing the implied meaning of this sentence. What is your brother like? Actually, the meaning of this sentence would be defining or describing actually the man concerned, brother concerned. What is he like? What is he like? What is he looking like? These are the options we have here. And whether he is tall, he is short, he has long hair. These are the varieties we could get from this question, what is your brother like? For which stylistics plays a seminal role. Move on to the next slide, please. Look at the list of terms for marked routes. There are lists: alley, lane, street, highway, thoroughfare, road, path, cul-de-sac, avenue, way, ginnel, motorway, expressway, and so on. These words denote only the routes. Only the routes. Look at the next one, sir. Among these, I've given you some examples, a few examples for your sake. Written one, thoroughfare is chiefly used in writing. Cul-de-sac, where you have no path at all, one way. One way we call it cul-de-sac. In spoken form, we use road, street, paths. And click on the next one, sir. And in UK, we can have a difference between UK's word and USA's word. We call UK people use motorway, while USA, people living in US would be using freeway. And whenever people come across, whenever people talk to us using freeway, we can come to know that this guy must have been from US. That is the implication we have here. there is a proper understanding between the listener and the speaker. That is why I have taken up this task. Look at the next one. Imagine a person who is entering Mustafa Center in Singapore and asking for AAU. AAU actually is a chemical, a symbol representing chemical or chemical element, AAU. As soon as the listener listens to it, definitely the listener may not be able to understand what AAU means. And you'll be asking for what AAU. So, in this sentence or from this sentence, we come to know that a person who is entering this center or the mall in Singapore must be a chemist because he has used the word, he used the element called AU, the symbol called AU. So that is the important thing. Meet me immediately. For example, if my HOD, I'm inside the classroom and I'm receiving a hint from one of the students or one of the fellow colleagues, indicating that meet me immediately. When you use, sir, click on set. What is it? Meet me immediately. When something is given in capital case, actually the receiver, the sender is not happy with me. He is a little bit upset when you use meet me immediately. Or else it is compulsory. When you look at the next example, click on the next example. Next one. Don't waste H2O. I visited one of the institutions very recently where I witnessed this phrase, this sentence, don't waste H2O. If an outsider who doesn't know the meaning of H2O, definitely, but he knows that we have a tap, we wash our hands. H2O must be water. So a creator of this sentence must be from a chemistry department. Maybe there will be a chance. This is how we will be able to discern the meanings of those words, those sentences. Look at the next one, sir. Go to the next slide, please. We are coming to an end here. And while concluding, I would like to give you some important things. We know the importance of science, particularly in engineering colleges, as it is held or conducted by SRM University. Importance of science right from the first year. Science might refer to physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Without these three, we say subjects, a student cannot get a degree. We know it. Look at the next one. Role of English and IQ. The Department of English is conducting this program. Role of English of a teacher or of a student would be quintessential here. Role of English is playing a major role of a student, and particularly if he possesses IQ, intelligent quotient, along with role of English, definitely the boy or the girl studying in a particular college will definitely be placed. He cannot be exempted from this one. But when you look at the next one, if the same boy or the girl, a candidate or an employee, having emotional quotient, he would be able to sustain his profession, and at the same time, he might be elevated from this position to next position because he has emotional quotient. He would be dealing with feelings of other employees in a company or an organization. Look at the next one, sir. We have SQ, social quotient. And social quotient plays a major role by obtaining or incorporating managerial skills. So a person who is entering an office as a novice, as a trainer, as a trainee, would be elevated from one position to another position. Then it is possible for the same candidate to enrich himself by through social quotient, and he can become a manager at one point of time. Therefore, we need to think out of the box or think outside the box. Please click on sir. Thinking outside the box will help us attain our own areas, and we can easily achieve. One can easily achieve doing so. And I have given a quote. Next one. Winners don't do different things. They do things differently. It is written by Shivakara. Shivakara, you can win. So we all understand ourselves that we should become winners right from today. And we can do things differently. Once we understand the nuances are the subtleties of the meanings of those words and sentences, we could easily make ourselves comfort, and we can, by the way, make students comfort or keep them in a comfort zone. Thereby, we could satisfy ourselves and the society altogether. If we do so, definitely we can win with all the concepts we have here. Thank you so much. There are some works cited I've given here on the slide. And look at the next one. If there are any queries or questions, please ask me.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is Dr. Priya. My heartfelt
ma'am.
thanks to you. Wonderful
Thank you so much.
presentation. In fact, it was really making me to take some points.
Thank you, ma'am.
Your interpreting competency, its nuances like what it means, how, when, and why, including linguistic, syntactic, stylistic sentences was exceedingly good.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think there cannot be a better presentation than today. Of course, I was watching all the 3 days simultaneously. It was equally challenging. And my sincere word of appreciation to the entire team, to the institution, team members, resource person, and we will be definitely be forwarding to listen to many of the series like this. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Priya, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Sandil.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, it was a wonderful lecture, Sandil.
Thank you so much, sir.
In
Thank
fact,
you.
you proved that you are an MA in linguistics also.
Yes, sir. I have done, sir.
It also implied that all the English teachers should have some basic knowledge of linguistics.
Yes, sir. I suppose.
Yes.
I recommend.
So scholarly, very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And also
sir.
very useful.
It's your blessing.
I thought that when you referred interpretative skills in the title,
yes,
it
sir.
would be literary interpretation, as we have also moved from a ELT scenario to literature teaching in Tyagaraja College.
Actually, we don't find time to combine all these things, sir.
Yeah. But it was so wonderful that it was your favorite cup of tea, ELT, which you spent for more than a decade in BIT.
Thank you, sir.
30, and it was very scholarly, very nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So wonderful.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Sir, this is Anand from Ishwara Engineering College.
Please, sir.
I like to clarify one doubt in linguistics, sir.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference between dialect and slang, sir? Some people
actually, yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
They misunderstand that. They misunderstand dialect as slang. When we refer to one particular regional way of talking Tamil or whatever it may be, that should be mentioned as dialect. But some people say it is a slang. Is it so, or we should say that as dialect?
Actually, sir, yes, sir. You are right. Actually, you have given the explanation of the word dialect, but we also use the term called ghetto by Salman Rushdie. In Why Commonwealth Literature Doesn't Exist, he has mentioned the term called ghetto, which refers to the people living in slum area. They have their own languages. Slangs are nothing but informal terms, informal structure of language. Right, sir?
Yes, sir. But it is entirely different now, sir. Dialect and slang.
Yes, actually, as per the meanings concerned, they are entirely different, sir.
Yes, sir. But we can slang. I learnt in. I had my PG. I did my PG in Tyagaraja College only, sir. Between 2003 and 2005, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
I learnt that eight different kinds of.
You're right.
Pidgin, Creole.
Yes.
Jargon,
These
slang.
These are the terms available there in linguistics. Pidgin, Creole, other things. These are there.
When people misuse this slang and dialect, I often get confused.
That is why interpretation skill is quite important, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, what I feel is,
yes, sir. Please.
Dialect is a broad-based categorization, which is a regional variety of a particular language, whereas slang is a specific. One is broad-based and the other one is specific. Slang is with reference to particular words. So dialect is a broad-based one, and this is a specific one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. I am Prema.
Yes, ma'am.
May I give you observation, sir?
Yes, please.
We are very proud of you, sir, to hear your speech as a presentation. I can shortly mention a thorough package as an English faculty by incorporating literature, language, linguistics, fine mixing up.
Thank you.
So proud of you, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
This is Painmari from Government College, Colony, Kumbakonam, sir. Sir,
yes,
it was a very interesting one, sir. Your presentation was very fine.
Yes.
My area of interest is also linguistics, sir. I was very interestingly watching each and every aspect of whatever you said. I would like to put you a question. I have not done my PhD, but I am interested in doing linguistics. This would be a better area of choosing, sir. Can you just suggest me? Can you give me an idea of what to choose?
I can't get your point.
For my research, sir, in the area of linguistics, what idea can you give me to choose?
Yeah, it depends on your interest actually. There are, when you take up stylistics, you're interested in, you can have morpho-stylistics, then syntactico-stylistics, semantico-stylistics. These are the varieties we have here. Apart from this one, we have discourse analysis.
Yes, sir.
These are all internal components of stylistics. When you read some of the novels or some of the plays or even the poems, you could apply very easily now.
Okay, it is possible. I'm just thinking for PG as well as for UG linguistics, so I thought of doing research in this area. That's the thing. I just wanted to get an idea from you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Here I would like to point out, Sendil.
Please, sir.
Yes, there is a Hong Kong University thesis on Arundhati Roy's one and only novel, God of Small Things, which has been analyzed statistically. A threadbare analysis, and almost all the hundreds and hundreds of stylistic terms have been listed there, analyzed. So wonderful, exhaustive work.
True, sir. True, sir. Actually, sir, I like to quote as you have given me a sample from Arundhati Roy. But anyways, it is different kind. Actually, when we listen to a commentary, cricket commentary, particularly from, we say, Sunil Gavaskar, he might be using the term called, a sentence called, there is no fielder there. There is a fielder there. He is using the word there and there in the beginning and at the end. We call it, stylistically, it is called expletive. Expletive. Even if you remove the last word there, it doesn't, actually, the meaning of the sentence will not be spoiled. We have several terms there. Yeah, even when we use the sentences wrongly, we have a term in linguistics called cacology, C-A-C-O-L-O-G-Y. There are several terms, sir. We can deal with them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
This is Jumana Hazin, Assistant Professor of English, Iman College, Trichy, sir.
Nice to have you, ma'am. Please.
It was a very good presentation, sir. It was a two-way communication or interpretation in your language that you were asking us questions and you were asking us to type in the chat box. It was very interesting, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, it was interactive.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
sir.
very interesting. And yeah, when coming to slang and dialect, I think I can give a few examples like
Please, please.
Chennai slang, Tirunelveli slang,
Yes.
Malayalam slang, but all belong to same Tamil category and Tamil
Yes.
dialect.
Yes.
Singalam is also related to Tamil, but it is known to us as Singalam dialect. So that is the difference. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I answered Mr. Anand's question. Yeah.
It's all
No,
right.
no, no, no,
Doesn't
no,
matter.
no, no, no. I'm sorry.
Let us see.
It's not so much. It's not so. Dialect is a regional variety of a language. Slang, of
Exhaustive
course,
use.
in every dialect there will be slangs, but all slangs are not dialects.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, sir. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
cannot confuse with a slang and dialect. Dialect is a regional variety of a language, whereas
Or
slangs are there in every dialect.
yeah, slang is
Yeah.
like personal and informal, where
Yes,
dialect is
personal and informal. Dialect is a
Both are
regional
informal.
variety. There will be identity among the speakers of that region, but slang can be different.
and one more request to Walter, sir.
Mm.
While
Yes, ma'am.
uploading third day, while uploading third day certificates, please attach these three people's PPT to uh, to to the drive so that whoever gets access to the certificate can also also download these
I will be sending the video links after uploading them on YouTube channel, ma'am. So along with the links, I will send the PPTs, of course, after requesting the resource persons and
Okay.
getting their permission.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, it
Yes,
was very
another
organized.
example to highlight that slang
Yes,
is
sir.
individualistic. I can give you a sample. In our own college, we used to ask each other, the teachers, என்ன பெருசு என்ன சொல்லுது? Here, பெருசு means the principal. It is not that any dialect. Okay. So you have to properly understand the differentiation between slang and dialect. Dialect is formal, linguistic
Okay,
category.
thank you so much for the notes, sir. So I'm a
Yes,
new,
ma'am.
I'm a new professor from
Yeah.
MPhil student. I will get that. I will note it down, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. A local example.
Good
Hello.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, I am Shubha Acharya from Mumbai.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Please.
would thank you, sir, for a wonderful letter.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to know if there is any research work being done on the language used in SMS and WhatsApp.
People are doing, ma'am. Actually, people have been doing. They're working on it, and some of the MPhil scholars have done it. When you visit UFLU, you could get some of the information about this.
Because
English and Foreign Languages
slangs are
University.
used a lot in WhatsApp messages.
They are doing, ma'am. Actually, works have been going on by the scholars.
Thanks.
And it is uncertainty. It is uncertainty to tell you that nobody has done on these areas.
I have seen.
I cannot vouch it actually. Honestly,
Yes, I have seen an American slang dictionary.
Yes. No, research on slangs, research on SMS words and other things. People have been doing so.
Yes, yes. LOL, ROL.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Sir, this is Aida from Chennai.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, your presentation was awesome, quite interesting and highly informative, sir. Thank you for the session. It was great listening to you. I have a particular question, sir. That is, we have something called technical English, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is stylistics part of technical English, or is it entirely different? And or is there any connection between the two?
Actually, we have got scientific language. Language has got, we say, judicial language. We have scientific language. We have biblical language, and there are varieties. And we can apply any one of them to arrive at a conclusion. This is possible. And technical English would also have scientific terms there. So we can incorporate, or we can have an idea and discern those ideas when you do some research on it.
Is stylistics part of technical English?
Yes, ma'am, we can do, ma'am. We can do. Definitely, we can do. but we need to have some resources. We must have some background work, theory. Yeah, theory we should apply. Then we can incorporate it into any one of the research areas, even for MPhil level or at PhD level. We can do it.
So it could be connected.
Yes, we can connect it. Ma'am, actually, any word under Earth will be coming under Stylistics. Any term you use, it will be there in linguistics. That is why we call it linguistics the scientific study of language.
Oh, so the other aspects that you told are the branch out of it, sir?
Yes, actually, stylistics is one of the branches of applied linguistics.
Okay, sir.
And we can apply social linguistics also. There are varieties.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Walter?
Yes, ma'am.
Walter, if there are no questions, can we move to the conclusion?
Ma'am, yes.
Yes. Savita, just before you move to the formal vote of thanks, on behalf of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram campus, the Department of English and Foreign Languages, I think I have to wholeheartedly thank every one of you who's been a part of us, either on one of the days or on all the 3 days. My special thanks to the participants, because I found that their cooperation was increasing day by day. From Professor Vijay Durai's presentation on first day, I think they started cooperating more and more towards the last day. And today it was, absolutely a very, very cooperative session. So, and they also, I think, took part in all the interactive sessions that Dr. Sendil was having with them. So I wanted to thank the participants very much for all the cooperation they extended. I'm sure they must have definitely been enlightened from all the 3 sessions. I see that in the chat box also. And I think I don't have to say much about the speakers, because one, they are all already very popular. Second, from the way they actually conducted their presentations on the 3 days, we have found that like what many of them said, all we can say is mind-blowing. So I wanted to, from my part, thank each and every one of them. Professor Vijay Durai, Professor T.S. Vardarajan, and Professor Sendil for all the cooperation, for all their, the help they extended in immediately consenting to, come for this webinar and enlighten the people. So I am extremely thankful to all the 3 of you, and it's very nice to see the 3 of them present for all the 3 days. So that was also very nice. Yes. So thank you so much, and I have to thank my staff coordinator, Dr. Savita, who's been instrumental in making all this possible. She has been in touch with the resource persons, and she has made all arrangements. So I thank her immensely. Nevertheless, I think all of you must be watching all the sessions. But for Walter and Preeta, all this would not have been possible at all. So Walter, for all the technical, moral support, and Preeta beside him, helping him wholeheartedly. I want to thank Walter and Preeta for all that has happened, and my entire team. They have all helped us in many ways. I thank our management, the dean and the vice principals for helping us to make all this possible. Over to Savita for the formal vote of thanks and concluding remarks.
Good afternoon. SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram, deem it a pleasure to host all the participants of the 3-day lecture series organized by the Department of English and Other Foreign Languages. The participants were very enthusiastic. I am thankful to all the participants who have joined us from across the country. We have been fortunate to have some of the eminent persons from academia, Dr. Vijay Durai from Chikai Nayakar College, Erode, Dr. T.S. Varadarajan, and Dr. Sendil from Tyagarajar College, Madurai. And I sincerely thank the speakers for enlightening us. I am sure that the participants must have benefited by attending this lecture series. I am very much thankful to our Chairman, Director and Dean Ramapuram Campus for their continuous support and advice, which greatly helped towards the success of the program. I thank our Head of the Department, Dr. Rama, for her constant guidance and help towards organizing this event. I also acknowledge the unwavering support received from the colleagues of my department. I'll be failing in my duty if I do not mention my deepest sense of appreciation and would place on record my hearty thanks to Dr. Walter and Mrs. Preeta, who have given their precious time in organizing the entire event by providing all possible technical support and guidance. I once again thank everyone for all your contribution made for the success of this lecture series. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you, Walter. I will make some corrections in my PowerPoint and send to you, Walter.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Right.
Thank you, Rama ma'am, Savita ma'am,
thank
Walter
you.
sir.
Thank you,
Rama.
Thank
Thank you,
It is
Savita.
actually an
you,
opportunity.
Yes.
It is actually an opportunity for us
Presentation
to.
is very creative and animated.
No. I worked on it actually, sir. I worked
Okay.
on it. Whatever we learn, if we work on it, definitely that will be quite useful for the learners. At the same time, we will have some touch on it, and we won't forget things.
Yes. In fact, I feel like listening to Sendil interpreting a literary work because he has induced my curiosity now. If the ELT can be so interesting, he would definitely be extraordinarily impressive if he is given a literary work to be interpreted. So nice.
Thank you,
Today
sir.
it was
Thank you so much.
show. Good show.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you.
Thank you, all
Thank
the
you.
organizers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Yes, I request the participants to kindly leave the session as and when they wish.